Whoops, turn around. Every now and then you turn around and try to get your camera right in your face. Turn around. Rotate my device. Okay, we're reading this morning either Living Buddhism or World Tribune. They're both cave. Let's look at Living Buddhism. Okay. Lecture series. Key passages from the record of orally transmitted teachings. Do you want to read that one? No, we want to read the New Human Revolution. Yeah. Okay, this is Great Path from volume 28. I believe it was 30 is the last volume. Okay. Volume 28, chapter 2, installment 53 to 58. Okay, the New Human Revolution. Daisaku Ikeda appears in this as Shinichi Yamamoto. A storm of slander fueled by Nichiren Shoshu priests had descended on members in the Okitama area. Okikintama area. No, I'm just joking. Not the Okikintama, but the Okitama area. At the regular monthly lecture in January 1978, the chief priest of the Nichiren Shoshu Temple in Okitama began to criticize the Soka Gakkai, the Value Creation Society, which I've been a member of since I was a baby. Okay. And his attacks intensified each month. The priest ranted about the Soka Gakkai committing, quote, outrageous slander of the law, end quote, and demanded that members leave the organization and affiliate themselves directly with the temple. When one member could no longer stomach it and rose to leave, the priest shouted, "Who are you to stand up? Stay and listen till the end," and went on with his defamations, allowing no rebuttals. The chief priest's words shook one man so much that he said he wanted to quit the Soka Gakkai. When a concerned local leader visited him to talk, the man could only repeat, "The Soka Gakkai is wrong. The Soka Gakkai is wrong." "How is it wrong?" "I don't know. Ask the chief priest." The man called the temple, and a little while later the priest came over and said confidently, "I have the proof right here." With a triumphant flourish, he produced a pile of weekly tabloid magazines from his briefcase. His criteria for judging right from wrong was not Nichiren Daishonen's writing, but articles filled with malicious falsehoods by people resentful of the Soka Gakkai. Stunned, the Soka Gakkai leader could only laugh. The priest also told an older woman that unless she quit the Soka Gakkai, the temple would not conduct funeral or memorial services for her or her family, or intern their ashes on temple grounds. Weeping, she notified the Soka Gakkai that she was leaving. Another member immediately went to encourage her, saying, "It's the Soka Gakkai that taught us about faith," and urged her to return. Every day was a bitter struggle, but most of the members did not give up. They burnt with a fighting spirit. Quote, "Now is the time for me to take a stand," end quote. "Without strong headwinds, we cannot soar. Difficulties tamper and forge us. As Helen Keller said, quote, "Every struggle is victory," end quote. When he had learned of the situation in Okitama, Shinichi Yamamoto composed several poems for members of each division, striving at the forefront of the struggle. Thank you for bravely forging ahead, even in the blizzards, the land of Yamagata. Oh, that's in Yamagata. I went to Yamagata many times. The land of Yamagata is fragrant with benefit. Quote, the Alba Pledge would continue to resonate in all Tohoku members' hearts, becoming a song of joy. Whoops, I skipped a page, huh? Okay, yeah. Okay, here's him writing more for the members in Okitama. Convinced that now determines your happiness in this life, keep striving boldly, even with a smile on your face. Shinichi wrote a total of 13 poems. Each was an appeal and a prayer that his dear fellow members in Okitama would wipe away their bitter tears and forge ahead cheerfully, heads held high, along the path of truth and justice. Inspired, the Okitama members had stood up resolutely and united in a spirit of many in body, one in mind. They discussed how they could stir fresh waves of hope and decided to hold the Okitama Hometown Festival on August 6th. With folk songs and other entertainment to promote local culture. Though invited, Shinichi couldn't attend because he had already committed to a study session with U.S. members. In his place, what did he do? Where did I leave off? In his place. Oh, here it is. In his place, he sent the Soka Gakkai general director and some vice presidents. When he completed, quote, the Aoba Pledge, end quote, earlier in the day, Shinichi asked that someone immediately notify Tohoku Region General Leader Susumu Aota, who was attending the event in Yonizawa. I performed in Yonizawa too. Aoto got the message, as I love Yonizawa actually. I love that station performing there. Aota got the message as soon as the daytime performances ended. He was moved to tears. This is the greatest possible encouragement that Sensei could send to Okitama. He conferred with the event staff and they decided to perform the song during the festival's evening session. But how could everyone possibly learn it by then? Kazushi Miyao, a young men's division member and junior high school music teacher in charge of the festival chorus performances, made his way from the festival venue to the nearby Yonizawa Culture Center. I can't remember if I went to the Yonizawa Culture Center. He asked someone in the Soka Gakkai headquarters to play a tape of the song over the telephone, and he recorded it by placing the microphone to a cassette deck near the phone's receiver. The Culture Center wasn't equipped with a fax machine at that time. 1978. Fax machine? I didn't know they had fax machines in 1978. Oh, shit. Yep. Tape recorder over the phone. Didn't even have speakerphones then. The Culture Center wasn't equipped. Okay. The young man's earnest determination made everything possible. Miao transcribed the melody and lyrics from the recording. He rewound and replayed the tape many times for the parts that were hard to hear. When he finally finished, he made copies of the completed music and lyrics and had about 20 members of the Young Men's and Young Women's Division Chorus come to the Culture Center to practice. The festival's evening session was fast approaching. It was truly a race against time. The strength of the Soka Gakkai lay in its speed. It had always won by responding and acting quickly. Members' hearts filled with joy at the thought. President Yamamoto composed not only the lyrics but the music too. After the evening finale, Aoto stood to speak, his face beaming. Today, President Yamamoto had completed the words and music of a song for Tohoku. It's called the Aoba Pledge. Let's hear it now. Joyful applause shook the halls. When the chorus finished, everyone practiced and sang the song together. The strains of the Aoba Pledge rang out over the land of Tohoku for the first time. This is from the lyrics. In the forest of Aoba Castle, we made a pledge, our great pride, and that we will never forget. This song of renewal, celebrating the human spirit, filled the Tohoku air. The music and lyrics ran in the August 8 Seikyo Shimbun. At noon that day in Sendai, Women's and Young Women's Division chorus members gathered at the Aoba Castle ruins to practice the song. Their singing resounded with hope, echoing off the castle's moss-covered stone walls. Through the overgrown trees and up into the blue skies. The Aoba Pledge would continue to resonate in all Tohoku members' hearts, becoming a song of joy in happy times and a rousing song of courage in sad times. Also on August 8th, a prefecture leader conference was held in the Kosenrufu Hall of the Soka Culture Center in Tokyo. As he took his seat, Shinichi looked at the women from Hokuriku in the front row and said, quote, I have written a song for Hokuriku. The lyrics mention cosmos flowers. I wonder if you remember. I will never forget your sincerity at that time. The previous day, Shinichi had met with Women's Division representatives at the Soka Women's Center, present-day Shinano Culture Center. During the meeting, Toyama Prefecture Women's Leader Chisa Takimura mustered the courage to ask Shinichi, Sensei, will you please write a song for Hokuriku too? Did you try writing one yourselves? Yes. Yes, but we couldn't come up with anything that satisfied everyone. We hope to inspire Hokuriku with a song written by you. It's also important that you work together to write a song, he said. The discussion about a Hokuriku song ended when a women's leader from another area began reporting on their activities. But after the meeting, Shinichi started writing the lyrics and soon finished. When the Hokuriku women's leaders now heard Shinichi mention Cosmos flowers, their eyes lit up. The previous summer, Hokuriku Women's Division members had sent Shinichi, via women's leader visiting from Tokyo, a bouquet of Cosmos flowers and pampas grass from the foothills of the Takayama Mountains. They hoped the flowers would give him a moment's pleasure amid his hard-fought struggles. By no means a flashy arrangement, it nevertheless evoked a sense of the Takayama Mountains. Shinichi placed the bouquet in front of the Gohonzan and chanted Nam-myoho Renge-kyo while picturing those dear Hokuriku members who had gathered the flowers. He hoped to have a chance sometime to praise the sincere and pure hearts. In the world of Soka, where sincerity resonates with sincerity, there is a beautiful union of spirit. When Shinichi announced that he had written a Hokuriku song, cheers came from the members of Ishikawa and Toyama, and the two Hokuriku prefectures represented at the meeting. The women's leader, who had made the request for the song the day before, said with tears in her eyes, "Thank you, Sensei. We only just asked you yesterday." End quote. Quote, "I will do anything if it pleases you. This is my vow," Shinichi said. He then asked, "Are Kanegawa members here?" The members from Kanegawa raised their hands and said yes. I went to Kanegawa too. Where did I perform in Kanegawa? I forget. I also wrote lyrics for a Kanegawa song. Kanegawa will become more and more important from now on. Next year, the Kanegawa Culture Center will be completed in Yokohama. Oh, that's in Yokohama. I performed at the Yokohama station. One guy was going to kill himself that night. He came to the Yokohama station and he heard me perform and he wrote me, "Thank you so much." And then he said he was going to kill himself that night because he got a diagnosis from a doctor that he had, what they call it, it's like schizophrenia or something like that. I forget what he called it. But anyway, he decided not to kill himself after seeing me perform at the Yokohama station. So little things you don't always know, sometimes you get word of from people. The age of Kanegawa is here. Members of Kanegawa's Tsurumi chapter were the ones who set in motion a great propagation effort to mark Mr. Toda's inauguration as the second president. I will never forget the front page headline of the very first issue of Seikyo Shimbun in 1951, quote, Tsunami's torch burns bright. As long as that fighting spirit burns bright in the hearts of the Kanegawa members, they can break through the darkness of any adversity. What is the greatest requirement for happiness? A fighting spirit for Kozenrufu, a passion to spread the Daishonen's teaching. There is no happiness if we get caught up in pretense and vanity. A drop of dew evaporates in an instant, but when it joins the vast ocean, it encompasses the entire planet. To dedicate ourselves to Kozenrufu is to place ourselves in that great ocean. From there, we can develop a boundless state of life. It was also in Kanagawa that President Toda made his declaration calling for the abolition of nuclear weapons. Kanagawa is the starting point of the Soka Gakkai's movement for peace. Kozenrufu means Kozenrufu means realizing Nichiren Daishonin's ideal of establishing the correct teaching for the peace of the land. Spreading the mystic law must bring peace and prosperity to society. Indeed, it was in Kanagawa as well that Nichiren Daishonin wrote his treatise on establishing the correct teaching for the peace of the land. I hope each of you will bravely create waves of dialogue that will spread from where you are and bring Buddhism more broadly to society. Please advance proudly as pioneers of dialogue. The audience then listened to a recording of the regional songs Shinichi had written to date. Then the lyrics of the new Kanagawa song, Ah, the Sun Rises, were introduced. Here's some of the lyrics. Echoing over the sea of a new age, pure-hearted prayers soar limitlessly. Wings raining down compassion on Kanagawa, where the joy of living pulses. And this is more of the same lyrics. Ah, the sun rises in our hearts, our stage with its noble history, our infinite light undying. This torch, the bodhisattvas of the earth hold high and spread forever. Ah, the sun rises over our castle. Living this life without regrets, sounding the bell of a new day. Friends in faith dedicated to Kozenrufu gather like clouds, a rhythm praised by all without end. Ah, the sun rises for our fellow members. That's the end of the lyrics they have here. Shinichi said, I've put 1,000 emotions into Ah, the sun rises. I hope all of you in Kanagawa will keep the sun of life always shining in your hearts, no matter what. In a sense, to live is to find our way through dark nights when destiny's storms strike. We struggle against hardship while desperately trying to open a way forward. But when the sun rises, everything becomes clear. The frozen earth revives. Flowers bloom and butterflies dance. The sun is the Buddha nature within us. Quote, I hope each of you will be a sun-like presence in your family, your communities, and your workplaces. Please encourage others, brighten the hearts of friends in sorrow, and send the light of joy, courage, and hope to those around you. The teachings of Nichiren Buddhism are like the sun. Therefore, we must be like the sun too. Okay, this is another. We'll read the next one next time, huh? That's from The Great Path, Volume 28, from 1978. I wonder what it would be like to be in these stations I performed at in the 70s. Everyone had their 70s hairdos and looked funky. Bell-bottom pants and shit. I wonder how dropping his dress back then. Okie dokie, artichokes, I gotta go to work. Okay.